The parade was postponed because of coronavirus, but the virus still very much there. Why did they decide to go ahead with the celebrations then?
I think what you have to bear in mind with this is just how important the Victory Day parade has become in Russia. It was always important in the years of the Soviet Union and now as well, but Vladimir Putin has made it even more so. And since he had already tied the celebrations this year to a vote on changes to the constitution, he was never going to let the event this year slip by. That said, the coronavirus did put a spanner in the works, and he's had to work really hard, I think, to get this back on track. As you mentioned, the coronavirus hasn't gone away. It's certainly not at the level it was in Russia in May, when 10 to 11,000 people were being infected every day. It's down to around 7,500 now, still pretty high. And as you pointed out, a high number of those are in Moscow, over 1,000 every day in Moscow. And as you pointed out, Sobyanin, the mayor of Moscow, told Muscovites not to go out on the streets as they normally would to celebrate this big event. Other cities around the country, 13 of them, which would normally have celebrated the event, have decided not to do so at all this year. But in Moscow, 13,000 Russian troops have marched through the Red Square. There have been over 200 armored vehicles, 75 aircraft. The troops, incidentally, have been in quarantine over the last month or so to make sure that they don't pose a risk to the population in Moscow. And the veterans who've been invited to the event as well, who are on the stand, had also been in quarantine, staying at special sort of hospitals, sanatoria around the city, and told to keep at least a meter or so between each other and to wear masks. Many of them didn't, it has to be said. But that really, I think, is what it's about.
Rob, this parade will be closely followed by a vote to change the constitution. Yeah. Is this a strategic move?
No, it's absolutely crucial. You know, Putin has got to the point in his leadership where he's beginning to think what happens when he goes. And according to the present constitution, when this term runs out, he has to go. So he's thinking, what comes next? You know, Russia is not a country which has a political system which easily leads itself to the handover of power. There's no real mechanism for doing it. When Putin goes, there will probably be a dogfight to see who takes over. And whoever comes out on top will want to consolidate power pretty quickly. And he may not want Vladimir Putin to be around for too long. Putin is thinking about that, no question. And that's why I think these constitutional changes are going to be put through. No question that Putin will win the vote. It's going to start from tomorrow through to the day where the actual vote is scheduled to take place, but there is early voting taking place from tomorrow up until July the 1st. As I say, no doubt at all that Putin is going to win the vote. Whether it's going to transform his position in the country, that's another matter altogether.